Well, we ended up with just over 20 mil of rain over the weekend, and next 2 or 3 days I think we're going to get a little bit more here and there. Looks like a little bit in the distance over there. We are right on the edge of a band of rain coming up through Norfolk today. Probably catch a few mil off it, but nothing serious forecast. Anyway, first job on the cards this morning is collecting some new water samples out of our reservoirs, because the ones I sent off for my red tractor, the lab put them through and they tested them within the wrong parameters. So basically the numbers that they sent back on the certificate were not correct for what the auditor needed to see. So I'm going to try and get a sample out of here without falling in, test the other 2 reservoirs, send them back off, and that will rectify my one and only non-conformance for my fresh produce. Just had a ride round to look at this horrible patch of beet I showed you the other day. I thought it might be a little bit too much to ask to see much of a difference within 2 days, but have a look at this. This lot was completely flat to the floor. Looking much better already. Hopefully it will start getting a little bit of colour back now it's had a drink, because it's rather a horrible pale green. That's the sample sorted and posted. I'm going to get stuck into a few maintenance jobs while we've got a few wet days. First on the list will be the T8. Got some pins and bushes to do in the 3-point linkage. New pins and bushes there to go in here, because as you can see the bush is starting to spill out the side of the hole. Shouldn't look like that. Hopefully they're the right ones, because there are typically about 75 different options, wasn't there, for the same bloody tractor, so hopefully we got the right ones. That isn't coming past that plug or that air coupler. That's better. Should be able to grind that. Grind that flat, knock the bush through. Bush is worn down to the metal in there, so if it's stuck hard I should be able to run a couple of beads of weld and that'll make it contract and loosen up. That's going. Well, that got it. The new pins, well the old pins, have actually not got a lot of wear on them, but bought new pins anyway, so I'll put them in, chuck them in the shelf. Do as a spare if something breaks, won't they? Or they just take up a bit of shelf space. Job's a good one. One more side to go. There we go. That second one went a lot easier. Not that the first one was hard, but the second one had... the bush had turned itself into two pieces. So that didn't take much getting out. I think we caught it just in time though, the new bush seated in there nicely. So ready for work now. I've just got back from lunch, but while I was down there I found a couple of emails that needed sorting out. One of which required an Excel spreadsheet of information to be filled out. 2 hours. 2 hours that took to fill out that spreadsheet. And hats off to you office people, because that did me. I felt like I wanted to go to bed after that. I don't know how people sit in front of computers for long periods of time doing that sort of thing. Horrible. There was a couple more tractor jobs I wanted to do this afternoon, but since it's now 4:20, I've just wasted half the afternoon on the computer. I'm just going to have a good tidy up in here because it really is getting bad. Embarrassingly bad. Look at the state of this workbench. You can hardly even get to it over here. Terrible. Someone asked underneath one of the previous videos in the comments about having a little tour around some of the kit. Now, I could probably do that for you at some point, but not right now because I'm a bit too busy. Maybe a wet day, or if I think about it, a day during the winter. But this, I'll just show you through this tractor anyway, because this is it's our biggest tractor. The old T8 390, which does all our land work. Basically all she does, to be honest. Heavy land work tractor. She is due a new set of tyres. She'll be alright for a little while. I reckon she'll do a bit of the summer, autumn cultivations. Just when we get to the back end and it gets a bit wet, she's getting to a point where grip is slightly compromised. Not a lot left on the fronts, and the backs not too bad, but they're wearing a little bit on the inside there. Certainly think she is due a new set of boots. So I'll ask you the same question I asked on TikTok and got quite a good response actually. What tyres should we go for? I think I'd go for a VF, and I'm rather keen on the BKT VFs, the V Flectos I think they're called. We've currently got the Michelin still that it came on. Mac X bibs. 800s on the back. 600s on the front. I'm not going to put Michelins back on it because they are literally double the price of something like a BKT. And I've been very pleased with BKTs. Put them on several things now, and yeah, for the money, can't fault them really. So BKTs are probably at the top of my list of what I'm going to choose. Any other suggestions though? Stick them in the comments and I'll have a look. I've got prices for Alliance, which are fairly similar. Bridgestone were sort of halfway between a BKT price and a Michelin price, and a few other sort of lesser known brands which were in the same ballpark. But yeah, I can't really ignore the fact that I've had a lot of BKTs recently over the last few years and they've all been good. That'll do. It's not perfect, but freed up some bench space. Found quite a lot of tools that were buried under stuff. And next time something breaks down, I'll be able to find what I'm looking for a little bit easier and actually be able to get to the bench.